This video is proudly sponsored by Gamersgate. Download games anytime, anywhere. Visit Gamersgate.com.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Edo Geeks Game Club. This is episode number 35, Escapegoat. My name is Steve, and with me as always is Phil. Phil, how are you this evening?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing quite well, thank you. And also with us, of course, is Mr. Randy. How are you tonight, sir?
I am awesome. I'm ready to rock.
Cool. For those of you joining us for the first time, what we do here on the Game Club is we'll pick a game, play it for a couple of weeks, and then the three of us get together and record this podcast where we kind of discuss the game, what we liked, what we didn't like, kind of in a book club style format. It's not really intended to be an official review. It's just kind of a nice discussion amongst friends. And like I said, this time around we played the game Escapegoat for the PC, and I'm going to let Phil go ahead and give us a little background on the game.
Sure. I will say before I begin that I am not feeling 100% tonight. I have a slight cold, so if I start coughing or gagging or choking during this, I apologize in advance. I should have brought a cup of water down here with me, but I did not. Okay, so anyway, Escapegoat. It is a puzzle platformer, our favorite game here on the Game Club somehow.
We do tackle a lot of these.
Yeah, it just kind of happens. So. This is the third game developed by Magical Time Bean. The first two titles by, I was going to say them, but it's really him, is Soulcaster 1 and 2. So, Escapegoat, it was originally released as an Xbox indie game on November 2nd of 2011, so it's, a little over a year ago now. It originally launched at about $3, which I guess some people say is actually kind of high for an Xbox indie game, and not too much later he ended up dropping the price to 80 Microsoft points, which is $1.
Oh my!
Which is a steal, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then it got a PC release on June 14th of this year, and that one is $5, which I guess explains your oh my, because it's obviously it's pricier. And to try and make it a bit of a better deal, a little more bang for your buck, he included an extra 50 levels, which are very hard, I might add. And if you wish, it's playable through a browser, and you can go play it on, I think it's playescapegoat.com.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, and then there was actually a few weeks ago, or at least it felt like a few weeks ago, it may have been a month or two ago, there was a free weekend of it as well. And I played through like half of it back then during that time, and then I replayed it for this. So, Magical Time Bean. It's made up of Ian Stalker. For this game, he pretty much created everything. He did the game, and he did the soundtrack. He is the game. So, he actually has a pretty long history in game development. Most recently, he did the audio and music for Dream Rift's Monster Tale, and he also did Henry Hatsworth, which is an EA game, but those guys eventually split off and created Dream Rift. They're actually about to release Epic Mickey 2 for 3DS, and I'm curious if his audio work is in there. He has a pretty long history working with EA. He did stuff on like Harry Potter games, Lord of the Rings, and stuff like that. I'm not quite clear on exactly his role in his long list of games here, but according to a small little bio on Moby Games, he started in the industry, I'm quoting here, he started in the industry in January of 2002, doing contract audio work as Ian Stalker Sound Design Inc. on a large amount of commercial titles. He provided direction, composition, sound design, build management, custom technology, and tools. So
wow,
yeah, guys, he knows his shit. And as Randy added to my notes here, according to Urban Dictionary, an escapegoat is a slang used by idiots who do not realize the term is scapegoat.
I love that.
And it's kind of funny because, I mean, obviously, Escapegoat, the game title, is a play on words from Scapegoat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
As are a few things in the game. There are some other funny play on words.
Yeah. So, while speaking of the game, and I need a break from talking. I really should have brought down some water for me.
That's all right. Why don't you go grab a beer and a water, and we'll have Steve start it off. He hasn't started one in a while now.
I gotta hear his thoughts. I can't leave. So, go ahead. I'll just save up some spit.
All right. Escapegoat. Really, really awesome game. I really, really had a good time with it, and I'm saying really, really, really a lot of times. So that lets you know how much I liked it.
Super emphasis.
Yeah.
Steve, did you beat it? Did you finish it tonight?
I did.
Oh,
I
good.
did. I finished it earlier this evening,
Awesome.
which actually marks the first Game Club game in quite a while that I finished. So, actually, if that tells you something, I used the word. What was the game a couple times back where I kept saying I wasn't compelled to finish it? Well, this time around, I was compelled to finish Escapegoat because
the
really
compellingness was there.
The compulsion, which isn't actually a word. Not in that way.
The compulsion. I give the compulsion of this game a 5.
I think I just heard the sound of a million people clicking the close button. On the window
thumbs down on YouTube. You guys.
No, you know what? And I mentioned this to Phil the other day, and I don't usually do this. I don't usually compare games. That we're talking about, like the current Game Club game to past ones, and I certainly don't mean to sound. I don't want to be like going back and trashing a game, but as I was playing this game, I kept kind of thinking of Colorbind, because it was just the difference. It was that this game has that whatever that magic ingredient is that I did. Yeah, I wasn't getting from Colorbind. I don't know if it's just because of the layer of paint that they put on this and the music and just the overall package, but something about this game just, it made me want to keep playing it. And, I think a lot of it also is really just that the puzzles in this game are really so well designed, and there really were some brain busters in here. The way the game is set up, some of you guys listening are seeing this on the video, or if you're just listening to the podcast, you probably have no idea what the hell we're talking about. So basically, each level, you're this goat, and you're in this dungeon, and you're trying to escape. And in order to escape, you team up with a little mouse who also wants to get out of there, and the two of you together go through these kind of single-screen levels, meaning that it doesn't scroll or anything like that. It's just the screen is the level. And there's a series of obstacles and things you have to move and figure out to get to the door, which will then take you to the next room. And basically, I guess the objective is you have to rescue 7 of these sheep, and then that unlocks the final escape route, the final path, as it's called in the game. I think there's more though. There's like 9 or 10. You only have to rescue 7. And it's kind of like a Mega Man thing where you can pick and choose which level you're going to go to out of order. You don't have to.
I think there's 65 rooms total, but you only have to do like 50 of them or something.
53, I think, is
okay.
Something, yeah, because I did just about maybe a little more than the minimum, but because I didn't get all the goats, I got 7 goats and then I escaped. Right. So yeah. That's the basic gist of the game. That's what you got to do, and the puzzles are really well designed. I think back to my original point. Some of them are really tough. They're a nice mix of almost, I don't want to say Twitch gaming, but there's some stuff where you have to be pretty precise with your timing. It's not all just. It's
not a matter of figuring it out. It's also a matter of being able to do it.
Exactly. Perfect. A very good way of saying it. Yep. That's what I was getting at. And there were some, when I got through them, I was like, man, I'm a goddamn genius. Right. And that's a fun feeling. When you're playing a puzzle platformer game, that's a good feeling. And back to the point about Colorbind, there were times, like I said, where I felt like I was just kind of flinging the car across the screen and then reaching the objective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in this game, there was kind of a very set way to get through the level and accomplish it. And once you figured it out, it was a satisfying feeling. And that really, yeah. I mean, I had a great time playing it. I love the music. I've listened to the soundtrack over and over again throughout the week while I've been working. I think it's got some of the best music I've heard in a game in a while.
Yeah, I think that Escapegoat is the quintessential game and video game where it boils down everything to back to the basics level. You know, here you've got this 8-bit color palette. You've pretty much just got 8-bit graphics. You're only working on a one screen, kind of like. Did it remind anybody else of Gyromite, or was I the only one?
I didn't think of Gyromite.
I didn't get
no.
Gyromite vibes.
All right, well, I'm the only one.
But I see what you're saying. Yeah.
The one screen, you know. Like Donkey Kong or something.
Yeah, like Donkey Kong. But the really cool thing, like Steve was saying, you not only does it take the wherewithal to be able to see the puzzle on screen and figure out what you have to do, but you also need to have the precision. And the beauty with Escapegoat is you have that precise control. Like, the goat is dead on. When you tell him to jump, he jumps. Where he lands, he sticks his landings all the time. And even the mouse, when you start getting better at chucking the mouse around in the room so he can go and hit your remote switches for you, controlling him is right on the money as well. I think I really liked it just because of that fact. It boiled everything down to what made games great back on the NES and the Master System, where you've just got these simple graphics. You know he's a goat. He's not super detailed, but you know it's a goat. You know it's a mouse. He's not super detailed, but you know he's a mouse. And you know the bad guys are bad because they're shaped like death and they shoot fireballs at you. It's the basics of the video game, but because the execution is so precise, that's what makes this game great. And like I said, I think everything about it is precise. There were no levels or puzzles that I felt like were junk puzzles. And there were no puzzles or anything along those lines where when I got to it, where I thought to myself, nope, I'm not going to be able to finish this one. I need to turn off the game and start all over again. I don't know. There's something about it. There's an unspoken and an unwritten encouragement knowing that it's in you. You know you can finish this level. If you just stick it out, you'll figure it out eventually. And it's nice.
Yeah, I liked. There was a couple times when I was doing a level, like I think what is it? You have to complete 6 or 7 in a level. There's 7 rooms or whatever.
I think it's 6.
I think it's 6. The sixth one might be the goat or the sheep, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. So there would be some times where I would go to a level and I might get like 2 or 3 in, and I'd kind of get stuck. And then the nice thing about that is that it saved your progress. You could back out again, and then I could go to another level. And maybe that one I would get all the way through to 6. And then I'd go back to the other one I had been on before, and then I might be just in a little bit better frame of mind or whatever, and then I could get through and finish that level as well. I really felt like the save system, which was all auto-save, just worked really, really well. And it was great to turn the game off at night and then fire it back up the next day and just have everything, And that may sound like a no-brainer if you're used to, like, if within the context of like AAA console titles or even PC titles, where autosave is just second nature now. But in a lot of these smaller indie games that we play on here, a lot of times the autosave stuff doesn't really work right. There's issues, and this game was just had a level of polish with all that stuff where you didn't have to worry about it. It just did what it was supposed to do, and it helped the experience quite a bit.
Before tonight's show, I actually didn't know the game was an Xbox indie title. And one of my complaints, probably the only complaint that I was going to bring to the table about Escapegoat, was I was having a hard time originally controlling him using the mouse and keyboard, but then I just plugged in my 360 controller and I was like, oh, and I was just burning through the game because it was doing exactly what I wanted it to. So I think that's my only suggestion to people out there is if you're interested in Escapegoat, and I wholeheartedly recommend this game. I can't say enough nice things about it. Play it on a controller. You can do it with a keyboard you can do it with a WASD keyboard, but you'll get a much better experience out of it if you just take a second and plug in a controller.
Yeah, I agree completely. Yeah.
There was a level I was actually like the level that broke me. I was doing everything on keyboard. I wish I could remember what section it was in, but I don't know if you guys did this one or not, but it's essentially just like a room of just boxes going around on different belts. And buzzsaws on a bunch of the boxes. I tried that one on keyboard even once I switched to the Xbox controller, it still took me a while, but I was like at least like confident enough where I was like able to survive for a while and like think things through.
That might have been right around where I stopped too, believe it or not.
Yeah, because that was just, I mean, that one demands like pretty intense platforming.
Yeah. Yeah, that was. I think that was another thing. You know, there were challenging. It's a challenging game. It's not. It's not really a cakewalk, and I appreciated that about it. And yeah, just a really cool game.
I think. I'm sorry, Randy. You were gonna.
Oh, I was gonna ask. Was there by any chance a level editor packed in with this?
There is.
There is.
Yeah, that's awesome. See, I didn't get a chance to tinker around with that, but that's sweet.
Yeah, apparently, and I didn't really get a chance to check out any community-made levels, but apparently there's quite a bit out there.
Awesome.
Which is nice, and that's the game for $5. I mean, people could argue that that's expensive, but I think what you get with this game, you know, right out of the gate, like Phil said, there's 65 levels you need to get through just to unlock the. I don't know if that includes the 10 or the 9 at the end, 9 or 10. In the final path, so after, and this is going to get a little spoilery, but I mean, it's not.
It's Game Club. Spoiler time.
Yeah, it's Game Club. It can be a little spoilery at times, so
spoilery, spoiling your 2D puzzle platformer.
Well, yeah, I know. That's what I mean. It's like, what am I going to spoil? Like, you know, you solve the puzzle.
End, the goat. It no,
yeah. But after you collect 7 or more of the sheep at the end of each level, you unlock what's called the final path, and that's a 10-level kind of just, you know, that's you escaping from the dungeon, and it's just these, it's actually 9 puzzles leading up to the 10th one, which is kind of just not really a puzzle at all. And because of all the spoiler stuff, I totally lost train of thought of what I was saying. Oh, the value of the game, right? So you have all that right there, and then after you finish it, you unlock what's called the for all intents purposes.
Yeah, I think
which
so.
is a play on the for all intents and purposes,
Mm-hmm.
which is then kind of like
master.
which is the then crazy, insane, difficult. I guess that's the additional 50 levels, Phil.
Yeah.
Okay,
Which
so
I didn't make it very far into those, to be honest.
Neither did I, and those are really challenging and really tough. And you take that and then all that into consideration, and then the fact that there's a level editor, I think that $5 is a pretty good deal for a game like this. I bought it, and I didn't know this. I just found out tonight from Phil, but apparently the soundtrack is available for free on the Bandcamp as well.
Yeah.
So when you buy the game, you get the soundtrack as well. So I didn't know it was free. So at the time, I thought that was an added bonus to the price.
Right.
But
right.
I guess not, since it's free. But you do get the soundtrack as part of the download package when you get it.
Still cool though. Still good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was a little worried at first that the same music was going to be used through the entire thing, and in that case, I was going to get ready to turn it down. Not because the music is bad, but because if you keep hearing that same song over and over and over again, it'll wear you out. But each level does have its own music, and they all fit really well, and they are all very good. So, yeah, there's that.
Yeah, I liked the music a lot. I think it just had kind of an. I'm struggling not to say anything about Meat Boy because I feel like we say something about them on every time we play a game like this. But similar sound, the music did kind of remind me of that kind of like dystopian, kind of creepy, sort of, you know, like kind of disjointed.
I had a Castlevania vibe from it. Actually.
It did, yeah.
Dude, I had a Tina Turner vibe from it. Not joking. The first time I heard it, I can't remember the song, but I swear, the intro music, there's a Tina Turner 80s vibe to it. Which is good, because the game does have a very sweet 80s vibe to it.
It does, yeah. And Phil, you're absolutely right also. It does, and I mentioned this last week when we were doing the Castlevania one, that this game does kind of have that same kind of vibe to it of Castlevania a little bit. Especially in the artwork with the dungeon crypt kind of look to it. And I liked a lot of the mechanics. I liked how there were little things that I would catch. Like, did you notice, like, there would sometimes be a spot where you'd stand on a block, or like you'd stand on a button, and it would cause maybe like a platform to move. And if you did it at the right time, if there was like a saw going around, you could actually destroy the saw. Or you could destroy the mages or whatever they were. I don't know, or were they called reapers?
Yeah.
Yeah, they look like reapers to me. I was actually getting into the habit of manually destroying them on purpose.
Yeah. It was just cool that like I didn't know, it wasn't obvious that you could do that. The game didn't go out of its way to say, hey, if you do this at the perfect time, you can actually kill these things.
Yeah, and you could do the switch with the mouse. You could kill them during the teleport too.
Yeah. So really neat little kind of stuff like that was thrown in throughout the game, and a lot of just kind of ways to experiment with stuff. And to be honest, I mean, I don't know how you guys did the puzzle. I feel like in my mind there was a very clear way to do each puzzle, and that's how I did it. But that's not to say that you guys might have done it. You could have done it a completely different way, and I have no idea.
I think there was a couple that I fudged through, or at least I miracled through. But once you're done with them, you don't go back and replay them to see if there was a second way around.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Here's one that I wasn't sure if I did the right way or not. The very first stage on the final path. It's a big room, and then the exit is all the way to the right of the screen, and there's like a large hole in between you and the screen, and then above you are like reapers and blocks moving all around and stuff. How did you do that stage? Did you
I'm kind of drawing a blank on what it was?
All right, because on that stage, there's all the action is happening above you, and then the exit's to the right, and I just ignored all that, and I was able to double jump and dash my way over to the door. Does that sound familiar?
I think
I might have done something similar, but we'll be seeing probably the footage on the YouTube channel, and people will be like, "This is not how you did it at all, Randy. You totally died 1,000 times and had to kill everybody."
I should watch it because I was wondering if I did that stage wrong or not. So I probably should have. I should have just watched, found some kind of Let's Play that's on YouTube already and compared. But I was
I don't know. I don't remember having a level that seemed that,
Because I was wondering, if the stage was there to throw people off, or if I did it different. I wasn't sure. So.
Don't know. Can I ask you guys a question about the game though? About the design choice of the game?
Mm-hmm.
Why a goat? I mean, aside from the very clever title, this game would have worked awesome if it was like a wizard and a mouse, or I don't know, a knight and a squirrel, or you know what I mean? It's a goat and a mouse.
I think that's part of the appeal.
That's what I'm saying. Does that add to the appeal to you?
Well, to me, a goat is kind of like a pagan symbol, and I guess that kind of ties into all the crypt and the dungeon and the kind of, that's how I took it. But I don't know. There's no explanation in the game really as to why you're a goat, why you're in there, and you're just kind of left to wonder. But that's the only thing I thought of about it being a goat was the fact that that's like a pagan.
But did it add to or take away from the game at all? Like I said, if it was a knight and his squirrel or something along those lines, would it have changed your experience at all for the game? Because he only takes up one block on the screen.
Yeah, I guess it's hard to say. I mean, I guess it could have really been anything. I think it's really a sum of its parts, though. I mean, if it was the same exact game with all the same music and everything else, and it was a knight and a squirrel, then maybe it still would have been fine and wouldn't have really made a difference.
Yeah, I don't think it would have changed my opinion on the game at all.
I don't know what they would have called it, though.
I don't know either. Don't know.
I had a
What about you, Rand?
Oh, I'm sorry.
What was your thought on that, Randy? You asked the question. I'm just curious what your
I don't know. But I think that was what I was gonna say. Like did he design it? I would love to pick his brain and find out if he made the goat because he heard somebody use the phrase "escapegoat" and he thought it was hilarious and he thought he would make a game off of it, or did he have the concept for a game and then just kind of retrofitted the goat in to fit. I want to know which came first in this situation.
The title or the
chicken
game?
or the egg?
Yeah, the chicken or the egg. Did the title come first or did the game come first? Did he Escapegoat? This game practically builds itself, or did he have this idea of a game in mind and it was originally, I don't know, like I said, like a knight and a squirrel or a plumber and his little mushroom friend, and then did he change it at the last minute? I'm dying to find out here. I want to know. Somebody send him a Twitter.
Maybe I will. Maybe I'll tweet him.
Somebody tweet him.
Perhaps I will. I'll try and get that answer. I had a thought going back earlier into the show. You're talking about how, the game feels good to play it, and then you're comparing it to stuff like Colorblind, and you're trying to figure out what the disconnect is. And I guess my thought is, and I bring this up on Game Club often, especially when we play these puzzle platformer games. A lot of them have these really just awful, I think, in my head, awful physics engines where just like shit's flipping all over the place. You know what I mean? Like in Patiri or something like that, where just, you know, you touch something, it just kind of gets a mind of its own, it flips all over, and it's just like these poor physics engines. This game also has a physics engine, but it's not like, you know, it's very tailored. You know, I wish I knew more.
Would you call it a physics engine? I thought it was just 8-bit typical.
No, I'd say
video
I'd say there's a physics engine in there. I mean, it's, you know, it's pushing blocks. I mean, these blocks are being pushed around. They're moving all over the place, and you know, there's obviously some kind of something in place there making everything react and know how to react. You know what I mean? Like the game knows.
I think it's a standard old 8-bit video game.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I know what you're saying, Phil. I don't know. I mean, it must have some sort of like physics to it. It's very scripted. Like
exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Like the physics, and I say this all the time. I feel like, see, Randy, you say, well, I think it's 8-bit, but you know, there's like script. Yeah, like I don't know how to describe it because I'm not a game developer. So
when I think of something with like an obvious physics engine, it's something like you were saying with
like Little Big Planet.
Where like anything can happen. Like you hit something and it can just, maybe it goes really far, or maybe because of the way you hit it, it only goes a little bit. In this game, it seemed, like I said, it's scripted. Like, for example, that one level where it starts out and you're standing on like all these explosive blocks and there's like nothing below you, and pretty much, you know, the fire mage guy or whatever he's called turns around, sees you, throws a fireball, and he sets off this chain reaction of explosions that goes throughout the entire, basically just blows up everything in the level, and you have to be standing in like kind of like a good spot so that you don't get killed. I mean, it does that series of explosions and the chain reaction exactly the same every time, and I know because I died about 20 times on that level. So, and it got to the point where like I knew, you know, I could count, and I knew how many seconds to wait before I fell and then jumped, and you know, and so it's not a physics engine in the in what we've come to think of as a physics, when you think of like a game with a physics engine,
like Half-Life 2 and beyond physics engine.
Right, yeah, but I mean, I mean, for all that stuff to happen, the action and reaction,
there are rules in place to make this work.
Yeah, and it's all very tight, and it feels good, and you know, it's not too scripted. It's just not. It's not loose like what we've come to expect.
And you know, and I've said it before on the show that I prefer that kind of stuff versus these engines where just like shit just has a mind of its own. Like Insanely Twisted Shadow Planet, when you know you're flipping those freaking diamonds around and shit, and it's just like, oh please, you know, it's like I wish it just knew to just go in, you know, like.
Right, like I'm doing the action that says I'm putting this crystal into a slot, and the game should just.
It should know that I picked, I don't know, one of 8 different ways this crystal could be flipped. You know what I mean? Instead of just, you know, freaking wiggling that thing into place. And I prefer the way it's done in Escapegoat, which I guess is more of a traditional way of doing things. And I think that's what makes the difference between how fun it is to play a game like this versus playing a game like, and I'm sorry, Colorblind, and I'm only comparing it to that because it's like the last game that we played similar to this. You know, I was actually kind of reminded of Offspring Fling slightly playing this, just a little bit. I mean, they're not. I don't think they're too similar, but I kind of got that vibe. But you know, that game kind of uses its own physics type of engine as well. You know what I mean? Like it's got its own little rules written in there. And I had a blast playing that game, and I love playing this game. And I think that's why I prefer to play something like, the platforming feels good. I feel like I can be good at the game because I understand the rules of the game. And I think that's, for me personally, that is why I would rather play something like this versus. Even I'd go as far as to say Little Big Planet. You know, they're not similar games, but I'm just saying in the way they operate.
Yeah. This game is also interesting in that it kind of shows all, as far as the controls and what your character can do in conjunction with the mouse and the way they interact and everything. It kind of shows its hand early, and everything is shown to you what you can do and how it works early in the game, and then it doesn't really change. The levels change, and the things that are happening on the screen change and kind of get more crazy and complicated with, like I said, shit blowing up, or, you know, waves and waves of those fire mages, or the spinning saws, or, you know, whatever. But the way that you approach the level as a character never changes, and I kind of appreciated that in the context of this game. I felt like it made it more positive. It wasn't like, you know, midway through the game, all of a sudden you get some new power-up where you can do some other crazy thing where you, like, fly across the screen or something, you know. Everything's kind of laid out early on, and it gives you a chance to just understand how you're supposed to play and then apply it to these new, ever, you know, get increasingly complicated puzzles.
Right.
So, if that makes sense. I appreciated that about the game.
I think you're right. And a lot of times when games introduce powers, and oftentimes too late, you almost get a little bit mad at the game where you're like, oh, why didn't I have this for the first 50% of the game? Or why am I, you know, why am I just getting this now and I'm only playing it with for like 2 levels? What's the point?
Like Bastion, for example, a game where that mechanic was introduced for like the last 20 seconds of the game.
I think both of the Infamous games did something like that as well, where you get like this crazy ass travel power for like the last 10 minutes. It's like, okay, why? Why do that? I'm not going to use this thing just because you gave it to me right now. But the game doesn't do that. You're right. It shows you its cards right away. But that's even doing that, which for most games would be a really dangerous move, works really well in the case of Escapegoat.
Yeah, because they do that, it allows them to give you that option of giving you lots of different paths to choose at once. You know, you were saying earlier, if you get stuck on a puzzle, you can just kind of go back out to the hub and choose a whole other world. And because you can do everything that you can do pretty much up front, the only exception is you get the magic hat, which allows you to teleport between the mouse. You get that on certain stages, but that's kind of just like a
one board only thing.
Yeah, certain stages are built for it.
But you're introduced to it really early on in the game. Yeah.
I think before you get to the hub, right? I think you get it.
Yes, in that first series that gets you to the hub, right? Yeah, you're introduced to it, and then it, you know, the messages and everything are funny. It's got a sense of humor to it, obviously, with the way information is conveyed to you. So yeah, it's a cool game. I liked, you know, I died a lot. I forget. I think I died like 90 sometimes.
Well, you did better than me.
That's awesome.
When I looked at the thing, it might have been more than. I'll have to run through the credits again and see.
I was like 124 or something like that.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it was 90, or somewhere around 90.
I think,
but also
you went 124 times just on the YouTube video alone.
But Phil, you also went a little further than I did into some of the other stuff and the extra hard mode. So that might have.
I think the first time when I completed the final path, I think I was at 125, and then when I went back and did the stuff I skipped, I forget what it was at that point. But I mean, it wasn't too much higher. But yeah, I completed 100% of the you know, the main game, which I guess is what would have been on the Xbox version. And then I only did maybe like not even probably like 8% of the other stages. I felt satisfied with what I played. You know, 100%ing the main game. That I didn't feel the need to like press on through the extra stages. I mean, they are pretty frustrating, and I don't know if I have time to get angry, but they're there for. But it's a great, you know, they're there for people that just like are totally into the game and really want more and that kind of thing. But
it's, you know, it's a great value,
right? And I mean, I might go back and play those stages, but
yeah, and there's always a chance they may add more, you know, through later stuff, and there's a community stuff as well, so you can check out what sort of sadistic, crazy bastards are out there in the world making levels for this. Also, it's worth noting that this game currently is on the, what's it called, the Project Greenlight, or...
yeah, on Steam. It's on Greenlight on Steam?
It is. Project Greenlight was a TV show, wasn't it? I'm mixing the two. I think it was. Yeah, it's on Greenlight on Steam, and yeah, so if you haven't played the game, if maybe you checked it out in the browser, but then you didn't buy it because you didn't want to, I don't know why you wouldn't. But for whatever reason, you should definitely go over onto the Greenlight area in Steam and find this game and give it a vote, because I think it's worthy of finding a larger audience. It's really one of the higher quality games of this type that we've played, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely worth buying, and I have to say, for this time of year, I think it's a sweet palate cleanser as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, really good game. I can't say enough nice things about it.
Let me put it this way: I turned off WoW because I wanted to play Escapegoat. That's right. It broke the addiction, and for me, where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna turn this off because I feel like playing Escapegoat. That doesn't happen very often for me.
That is unprecidented.
That's really cool, man.
That's like the highest praise I can give it, pretty much. Yeah.
Very cool. Should we wrap it up then?
Yeah,
I
sure.
think so.
Yeah. So we all love it. Scapegoat's good. Check it out, dude. And seriously, you can play it for free right now on your browser, or the demo of it, or you can spend $1 on Xbox to get it.
I think you can even on Xbox with indie titles. Can't you? Don't they have
You can
like
still
a trial
download
mode?
the demo, yeah, for
You
like
can
5 minutes or
download
something
the demo
like
there.
that.
Right. So yeah, if you don't want, if for whatever reason you don't want to play it on your PC, go over on your Xbox and find the indie arcade thing and download the trial of that and try it on there, because it's really you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Steve, I'm glad you picked this one, because I think it's actually been on our game club list for probably about a year now. It's been on the to play list. So it's good that we got to it. Glad we finally played it.
Good pick, man. Good pick.
Thank you. And so so next time on the Game Club we're going to be playing the game PID. P-I-D. In case you couldn't understand the way I pronounced it. PID. It's a 2D. It's not a puzzle platformer. It is.
I don't know. I think it is.
It's a puzzle platformer. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's
Sure
like
it is.
It's like an action adventure game. It's like a 2D. It's a 2D side scroller.
It's a 2D side scroller, but I would.
Oh no.
It's a 2D side scroller with like puzzle elementsy to it. Like there are segments where it's very puzzle heavy, and there are segments that it's very action heavy.
Does it got shit physics like the ones I hate?
It might.
Oh no!
It's made by the same. The core people that made PID are the same people that put together Bionic Commando Rearmed, the 2D version, not the 3-dimensional re-release of the original.
Hot dog hands.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. The really cool one,
Not
the
the
good one
remake.
that came out on the PlayStation Network and on Xbox Live.
Not the
Yes.
retail game.
Right.
Yeah. No, that game had nice physics to it. So, what we're talking about, the good ones. So it's stands to reason that this game PID could also. So
I'll go throw it out there. I kind of liked Bionic Commando.
the rearmed one, or the hot dog hands.
Hot dog hands.
Hot dog hands.
Kind of liked Hot Dog Arm.
I'm surprised that you even played Hot Dog Hands.
I played it because I love Bionic Commando.
Okay.
That's why I played it.
I see. That makes sense then.
If that didn't have Bionic Commando on the title, I would not have played that shit. But
Did you like Rearmed though?
I love Rearm.
Okay.
Yeah,
you might like
better.
PID.
I didn't play Rearm 2. I wanted to play Rearm 2. Did you play that?
No.
No, I never got around to playing it. No.
It had a jump button, and that was...
What?
Yeah, that's like...
Never mind.
Yeah, what? I don't want to jump in Bionic Commando. I know that sounds like maybe stupid, that's why I didn't play this game, but it's totally what killed my buzzkill on it.
I don't know, but jumping with
killed my
the
killed my
I can still
buzzkill.
see it being
I mean,
really cool though. Jumping and using your claw at the same time, that could be pretty neat.
but part of the puzzles is that you can't jump.
Yeah.
Part of that's what makes Bionic Commando.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm
But
sorry.
anyway, the core team behind Bionic Commando Rearmed, or at least the core team that made PID, is from Bionic Commando Rearmed, and you can definitely see a lot of elements of one in the other. I liked it. I did a test drive of it. I didn't get to finish it yet, so I'm dying to kind of go back and finish it up for Game Club next time.
Sweet.
Cool. I just realized something also while we're speaking of next time, is that the next Thursday is actually Thanksgiving. So we'll probably have to mess with the schedule a little bit for the next episode. But it will be in about 2 weeks. So if you're listening to this, rest assured that sometime within the next 12 to 16 days, you'll get the PID episode of the Game Club coming out.
I can't believe we're this close to the holiday season already.
I know. I just kind of feel sick at my stomach
Yeah,
thinking
crazy.
about it.
You mean I'll be playing Wii U before we record the next episode?
What?
Holy shit!
I'm gonna invite myself over to your house and be like, I brought a 6-pack of beer and a pizza. I'm here to play Wii U. I don't know what you guys are gonna do.
You bring a 6-pack of beer and a pizza. I will eat the pizza and you can play the Wii U.
Use it as bait to get Phil off the Wii U.
Yeah, I mean, depending on when I get this thing, yeah, maybe we can come over. You guys can come over or something. That'd be cool.
Cool. Right on. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for checking out the Game Club. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're listening to the show or watching the video on YouTube, please go ahead and click that subscribe button up there. If you're listening to us somehow through an audio format, we are available on iTunes, Zune Marketplace, and Stitcher Radio. So please subscribe to us. Leave us some feedback, a rating on one of those services. That would be really appreciated. And also head over to eldergeek.com and check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch TV. A lot of great stuff, a lot of reviews going up all the time, a lot of great video content and features. Check it out. Thank you guys very much again. Really appreciate your support. My name is Steve, and for Phil and Randy, we will see you next time on the Game Club talking about PID.